Hi everybody, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Antonio with IDX Broker. I also have Nick here answering questions, so feel free to shoot those and he'll type up a response for you. Today's webinar is going to be on WordPress, the multi-site install, which is a very popular option these days as it's getting easier and makes administrative processes much more streamlined. So let's get started. All right, so what I've done here is I've set up a multi-install for myself, and I've got a couple agents as well who have their child installs. I'm going to go through this type of install, which is going to be kind of based on a brokerage with a couple agents or however many agents, doesn't matter. This isn't the only use for multi-install, multi-site install. You can also use it to manage very different accounts and update all their utilities like their theme and plugins that way. But in today's example, it's going to be kind of a brokerage office example. So let's get started. So why do multi-site install instead of a single site install? Like I said, it makes plugins easier to update, themes easier to share between your child installs, and that administrative side of WordPress becomes a lot easier. You can create new instances of WordPress and subfolders or subdomains simply by going to the network admin and creating a new site. This is all great features of WordPress. It's pretty easy to set up. It really only requires editing one file, copying and pasting from WordPress's instructions. Then all the multi-site tools open up in WordPress, and you can create your child sites. In today's example, I'm going to be using subfolders, not subdomains. I will not be doing any domain mapping onto another domain because there's no real reason to in this instance. So I'll explain why I'm using subfolders here in a second as well. So let's visit my first multi-site here. This is the parent one here. I'm using the Parallax theme, and my child sites are going to be using the Parallax theme as well. These are my child sites down here for each agent. So let's go over a couple things that multi-site can't do to answer some of those questions. This does not allow you to use IDX Broker across multiple domains with one account. The term multi-site refers to the multiple installations of WordPress, not the use across multiple domains. So a lot of times we'll get questions asking that exact thing, like this is a way around having one domain. All IDX Broker data still has to be on the domain that is approved by the MLS and not any others. This doesn't mean you can't use certain features like widgets, create search forms, but they will always resolve back to the account that was approved by the MLS with us. So the details pages and the results are the pages I'm talking about that resolve there. Now when you have a bunch of sites with widgets and search forms, the big thing here for today's example is going to be the agent header ID. We want to make sure that the leads are sent to my agents. My 3 agents down here, if I hit one of their child sites, they're probably going to want the lead. So we're going to be using the agent header ID in a couple examples to show how that's done to cookie in that lead. The other thing to consider with multi-site is since our map search widget is domain specific, it will only work when you can specify the domain. If you use subdomains, you won't be able to change that in the IDX Broker dashboard. I'll show you what I mean really quickly. Here we've got a widget, and you'll see it's asking what page this map will be used on. If I use subdomains for my multi-site, I will not be able to specify that here. If I use subfolders, I will, and I can use the map widget. So that's another thing to keep in mind when setting up your multi-site and which way you want to go with that. The plugin does work across all the multi-sites, you can use all the features of it. It will bring in, you can update it there as well. The same API key will be used across all the multi-sites, so keep that in mind. If you have 3 multi-sites, they're all going to be calling the API to get the data, to save leads and stuff. That shouldn't be that big a deal with a couple multi-sites. Maybe 100 would make a difference, though. So let's go to my first. This is going to be my main multi-site here. You see I've got all the regular WordPress fun stuff here. I've got my plugin installed. I've got my theme installed here, which is this Parallax theme. And on my home page, because I have 3 agents, I've gone ahead and listed them. So anyone organically finding this site can then go to one of the child sites from here. For my first agent, I'm going straight to an IDX Broker page, which is his bio page, to get any visitors straight to results. These are the featured listings of this agent. You can contact the agent from here. And you'll notice the one thing I did here was append his agent header ID to the URL string. Because that agent header is there on the URL string, I'm now cookied into this agent. So as a lead, wherever I go, moving forward, I will be a lead for this agent here. You can see this here when I leave and go back to the main search page. You'll notice that subheader followed me right here. And that is because when I first hit that bio page, the agent header ID cookied me in. So that's one way to ensure that your agents are going to get the leads when visitors visit their page. From here on out, anything I do is going to go straight to that lead, and I can then follow up with this lead in their searches. But let's go to a second example of capturing that lead. So if the visitor didn't visit this brokerage site, my main site here, but visited one of the children first, for example, another agent, who may not have the agent header ID appended for whatever reason. Perhaps this agent wants to be their own resource and generate their own leads organically that way. So this is a second agent site. You'll see it's the home page is different. I've kept the theme to keep that experience the same between the main brokerage site and my agent site. So that way, as a visitor, I'm not really noticing that I'm going to a different domain ever. It all seems part of one larger site is the goal of that experience. So with this, in order to capture a lead, I've done something a little bit different. This form has been created and placed on this page. This form has, by default, this form is going to have a couple hidden fields. So these are going to be fields that I can't see when visiting the page. I can do max, min, price, choose city. Those are all fields editable by the visitor. But there's 2 extra fields in here. One of them is a widget referring field, and the second is going to be the agent header ID for this particular agent. When I run the search, you'll see the search, of course, resolves back to IDX Broker. And because I've hidden that agent header ID in that form, if I were to come to this page first, I would be cookied into this agent. This can be applied to any IDX Broker page, any IDX Broker URL, including saved links. So if you place saved links on the sidebar of this page or in the body of this page, I will be cookied in if I hit that page first with that agent header ID. You can see that that subheader followed me here because I've already been cookied into the first. So whichever page you land on first with that agent header ID, that's the one that you're going to be cookied in. The agent header IDs don't override each other, as you can see right here with this original subheader from the first agent. You can take this even a step further on the child page, maybe some JavaScript, to have all IDX Broker URLs append an agent header ID. That's up to you how far you want to go with it and how you want to address the agent links for the agent header ID. So now I have a third agent here. And the third agent is going to be my example of breaking this experience and not capturing the stuff, the agent header ID and the experience of the website. So I click on my third agent, and he hasn't set his up correctly, or in concert with the other two. Well, he's got a different theme. I go to his site, it looks like a totally different site. He just simply placed the widget in here, which is fine. There's no capture here though. So if I go here to this property, you'll see there's no agent header ID. I've already been cookied in, so I wouldn't have got this one anyway. But you could JavaScript it in to append agent header IDs to the widgets or whatever you'd like to capture leads. Otherwise, it's just going to be up to them clicking this contact button to be able to capture to that specific lead. All the regular IDX Broker options still apply in multi-site. It doesn't change anything as far as this section. Your users are still here. These are the agents. They all still have user IDs, and these would be the agent header IDs that you would append in the URL string. You can see this when we go and edit one. Let's go ahead and edit Tim here. If I go to subheader, you'll see agent header ID equals, and that's going to be his agent ID. And here's an example even of how this is going to look on a URL string. You can take this even further and create search pages with an agent header ID. You can create pretty much any URL string that's going to go back to an IDX Broker page for this lead capture. The widgets don't change. You're still going to be able to have searches, capture, maps, all that stuff. Again, the maps you'll have to make sure you do on a subfolder, not a subdomain. The nice thing is you can always bring those in still with the plugin. Like I said, all of this still applies here. You'll see the plugin being applied here, and it populates with our saved links, our widgets. All this is running off the same API key. If you want to check if you have so many agents that it might push you over the limit for your API key calls, you can check the traffic here, and you'll see, even though I've got 3 sites hooked up, I haven't really done that many calls. The nice thing about this for agents and an office is the ability to simply create more or fewer sites. So you can create a new site just by adding the title of your site there. The site will then create into a subfolder. This will be for a new agent. Oops, forgot the address. Don't think I can have space in it. Missing email address. Admin email. And a new site is added that quickly. Further plugins can clone all your settings automatically. And now this whole administrative process is really easy when you're adding agents or removing agents. All this happens here in this dashboard, and you'll see all the children are here. Underneath it, there's a new one right there created that I just created. And although installing WordPress isn't a complicated or long process, it is nice when it only takes a second. It's also nice to be able to update things in the admin area as well. Like I said, the administrative process of WordPress is all streamlined with the multi-site install. If you have domain mapping on, this still will kind of work. The thing to remember with even with domain mapping is everything is still going to resolve to the main domain. It's not going to resolve to a new domain and have data on a domain that's not approved. So all right. Let's go back to our dashboard. The other thing that you can have here is multiple users. These users can be synced up with your agent information from the IDX Broker. This would be done via the API. You could even have the users created if you wanted to program that in automatically in one realm or the other. This is going to be very useful when we're talking about multi-sites with 50 agents or more. It's going to be a lot easier to manage that volume of agents. All right. This concludes my example for WordPress multi-site. Hope everybody enjoyed it. I'd like to see some more WordPress fun happen here soon. And we will talk to you in the next webinar. Thank you for attending.